Okay, so in your 2026 performance review, your manager opens the slide deck and your name isn't on the org chart anymore. Instead, there's a new box that says GPT 5.2 pilot, analyst capacity 11 times. And the feedback section just says, "Thank you for your service. The algorithm will take it from here." Welcome to the comments section with Thomas Paul. Today, we're not talking about AI in the abstract. We're talking about GPT 5.2 as a corporate cost-cutting weapon and what that means for your job, your salary, and your portfolio over the next 12 to 24 months. Because this isn't sci-fi. It's spreadsheets, headcount, and CFOs asking a very simple question. Why am I paying 50 humans 6 figures each, when one director with a swarm of AI agents can ship the same output at 1% of the cost? Let's get into it. So imagine that 2026 performance review again. You're a mid-level analyst. You spent the year building decks, updating models, summarizing client calls, answering emails, and copy-pasting the same numbers into 10 different places because that's the process. Your manager sits down and says, "Good news. Your work quality has never been better. Bad news, that's because our GPT 5.2 pilot did 60% of it, and the board wants that number closer to 90. And here's where things get interesting. They don't fire you on the spot. They restructure. Your role becomes more strategic. Translation: fewer humans, more AI, same targets, and a quiet expectation that some of you won't survive the next reorg. That's the real story we're in. GPT 5.2 is not just a clever chatbot. At this point, it's basically a digital operations team that never sleeps, never needs insurance, and never passive-aggressively replies, all. So what can GPT 5.2 level systems actually do? Let's strip away the marketing fluff and talk in plain corporate English. Document analysis. You feed it 300 pages of contracts, regulations, client reports, and meeting notes. It can pull out key terms, spot inconsistencies, draft summaries for different audiences, and highlight risks. That thing you used to spend 3 days doing before that urgent Monday meeting? It does in minutes. Report drafting, monthly performance pack, board memo, client recap, internal project update, anything that follows a pattern and pulls from existing data. It can auto-generate a decent first draft. You still need a human to sanity check and tweak the politics. But the grunt work? Gone. Spreadsheet manipulation via natural language. You connect it to your Sheets or BI tool and say, "Show me revenue by region, quarter over quarter, and flag any accounts with more than 20% churn." It does that, then writes 3 bullet point insights, the chart title, and the email to your boss. Customer support, FAQ-style questions, basic troubleshooting, refund policies, onboarding. AI already handles a huge chunk of this. GPT 5.2 just does it faster, with better context, and in multiple languages at once. And it doesn't rage quit after the 5th "I forgot my password" ticket. Code scaffolding, not writing your entire product from scratch, but spinning up internal tools, scripts, connectors, and basic apps that used to take a junior dev or a no-code team days or weeks. It's a force multiplier for engineers and a replacement for some of the "we hired a person to maintain that one dashboard" jobs. Marketing copy, landing pages, email campaigns, social posts, product descriptions. Is it perfect? No. Is it good enough that a single marketer with solid taste can oversee a fire hose of content instead of writing every line? Yes. Internal knowledge search. Instead of digging through 5 wikis, 3 SharePoint folders, and that one PDF Bob emailed in 2019, you just ask, "What's our policy on X?" Or, "Have we done a project like this before?" And the system pulls from your internal docs and past work. None of this is magic brain stuff. It's speed, consistency, and 24/7 availability. So let's compare. A human analyst can work, 40 to 60 hours a week? They have off days. They make mistakes. They sit in meetings, reply to Slacks, get pulled into random side quests. Their focused, productive time is a slice of that week. A swarm of AI agents plugged into your tools? It's just executing tasks, non-stop. Ask it to generate 50 variations of a deck, 10 email versions, and 3 policy summaries while you sleep. It does it. Ask again in an hour with a new angle. It does that too. One human's week of copy-paste, summarize, reformat work is suddenly a few minutes of GPU time. And here's the key. Your CFO is not looking at this like, "Wow, such cool technology." They're looking at it like, "Why am I still paying full price for the old way?" Let's switch to the executive brain for a second. Executives don't sit around asking, will AI take jobs? Their question is colder and way more practical. Why is my SG&A line that fat when AI exists? Imagine a simplified P&L for a white-collar heavy company, a bank, a consulting firm, a big SaaS business, a BPO, whatever. You've got revenue at the top, then cost of goods sold, then this giant blob called operating expenses, salaries, bonuses, benefits, rent, software, support, HR, legal, marketing. For a lot of these companies, headcount is the single largest cost. Now imagine the CFO running a scenario in the board deck. What happens if we reduce white-collar headcount by 20 to 30% over 3 years by using AI tools? Not a mass firing, just normal attrition, slower hiring, reorgs, and efficiency initiatives. The answer is margins go up, earnings per share go up. The stock looks better. The board nods. The CEO gets a bigger bonus. That's the game. And if you think that's theoretical, look at the sectors that are already primed. Big banks, armies of analysts, compliance people, customer support, ops teams. Tons of standardized documents and workflows. Perfect AI food. Consulting firms. Slides, memos, frameworks, endless. Please redo this chart with a different color. AI is like a dream intern that doesn't sleep or complain about travel. Shared service centers and BPO firms. Thousands of people doing back-office processes on repeat. If you can describe the workflow in a standard operating procedure, you can probably hand parts of it to AI. Tech companies with big ops and support teams. They already have the data, the tools, the APIs. Plug AI in, measure the metrics, squeeze. But here's the important nuance. This is unlikely to be a one-day AI purge. Corporations hate being the villain in one news cycle. They love being the villain quietly over 3 years. So instead, you'll hear words like efficiency, right-sizing, restructuring, leveraging AI to augment our teams. Hiring freezes here, slow backfills there, 1 or 2 pilot programs that quietly reduce the need for 15 people. A 10 to 30% headcount reduction spread out over a few years doesn't trend on social media. It just shows up in the financials. Now, who exactly is standing in front of this AI firing squad? Let's be blunt. Most exposed roles, junior analysts, finance, consulting, corporate strategy, ops. If most of what you do is collect data, clean it, run the same models, and present the results in a standard format, AI is coming for the bottom 70% of that. Report writers, people whose job is turn these inputs into a coherent document on repeat. Policy summaries, internal newsletters, standard client updates. Artificial intelligence does drafts, humans do approvals. Customer support reps, especially Tier 1 and Tier 2, where it's the same 200 questions over and over. Human roles shrink to handling true edge cases and angry customers who want a real person. Basic marketing content roles, social copy factories, SEO content farms, product description writers. You'll still need brains for strategy and brand, but the volume of content per human is going way up. Paralegal-style document grind, first-pass contract review, case law searches, document tagging, due diligence checklists. Again, humans stay in the loop, but the sheer number of humans needed goes down. Mid-level managers whose main job is passing information around. If you're basically an email router and status update host, AI and better dashboards are not your friends. But wait, it gets even wilder. Because at the same time, some roles get dramatically more valuable. System designers, people who can look at a workflow and say, here's how we break this into steps, plug AI into half of them, and design a process that still works when something breaks. Prompt and agent orchestrators, not the meme version of prompt engineer, but people who know how to structure instructions, connect different tools, and get reliable results out of AI in a business context. AI-savvy product and ops leaders, the folks who can translate between, we want to reduce this cost line, and here's an AI-powered system that achieves that reliably without violating 3 regulations and breaking customer trust. Leaders of mixed human plus AI teams. Managing people is already hard. Managing people plus AI workflows plus metrics, that's a skill set. And then for investors, the division is just as sharp. Business models that might see margin expansion, software-heavy companies, scalable services, platforms that can plug AI into existing products and reduce support and operations costs without scaling headcount one-to-one with revenue. Models that get squeezed, labor-heavy agencies, old-school BPOs, Companies whose secret sauce is basically throwing humans at repetitive problems. If your moat is 10,000 people in cubicles doing repeatable tasks, that moat is getting drained. So, zoom out. What happens to the macro picture if this actually plays out? Let's say over the next few years, AI adoption ramps. White-collar unemployment ticks up. Not necessarily a cliff dive, but rising pockets of, we don't really need that many people to do this anymore. At the same time, corporate productivity and profits rise. Earnings look decent. Some sectors look incredible. Stock indices can look strong, even while specific categories of workers are hurting. That breaks a lot of the old mental models. Traditionally, the story was strong jobs, strong wages, inflation pressures, the Fed hikes, weak jobs, weak economy, the Fed cuts, markets cheer. Now you can have this weird mix. Solid earnings because companies are cutting costs with AI. While parts of the labor market soften, inflation is sticky in services and housing, and the Fed is staring at a dashboard where half the lights are blinking different colors. You might see unemployment stats that don't look catastrophic overall, but hide the pain of very specific groups, like younger white-collar workers, while older workers hold on to senior roles longer and lower-wage service jobs still stay tight because AI can't bus tables or fix your plumbing yet. Meanwhile, if the Fed eases too fast because inflation cools a bit, asset prices can rip higher. Tech, AI beneficiaries, productivity winners, even as some people are quietly getting wrecked career-wise. So you get this confusing regime shift where corporate profits don't necessarily mean broad prosperity. Rate cuts don't neatly map to easy money forever. And strong market weird labor becomes a recurring theme, not a one-off anomaly. Okay, so that's the dark comedy. Let's talk about what you can actually do if you're an employee. This is where we ditch the grind set cringe and do something practical. Step 1. Audit your own job. Literally list what you do for a week, every task. Then put a star next to anything that is basically copy, paste, summarize, rewrite, reformat, update, or explain this in a slightly different way. The honest truth. GPT 4.5 level systems can already do a lot of that. GPT 5.2 level tools will do it faster, cheaper, and more reliably. You should assume those hours are going away. That doesn't mean your whole job disappears. It means the market value of I do exactly these tasks is going to crater. Step 2. Move up the value chain. Instead of defining yourself as the person who does task X, you want to be the person who owns a system, an interface, or a decision. Systems. How does the work actually flow? Who requests it? Where does the data come from? How do we know it's done right? Interfaces. How do humans interact with this? What do they need to see on a dashboard? What do they need to click? Decisions. Given the information, what do we do? Who approves? What's the trade-off? AI is going to eat tasks. The humans who thrive are the ones designing the system those tasks live inside. Step 3. Become the in-house AI person, not a guru, not a thought leader. Just the annoying but useful coworker who actually tries things. You see a repetitive report? Build a little GPT workflow that drafts 80% of it. Show your manager. Iterate. You have a messy internal SOP? Turn it into a clear prompt and template so I can follow it. You notice everyone manually searching 5 databases? Build an AI-powered search that pulls from all of them and surfaces the answer in one place. You don't need to code like a Silicon Valley engineer. You need to be curious and willing to prototype small, ugly, but useful things. Because here's the brutal truth. Every company is going to build these AI workflows. The only question is whether you're the one helping design them or the one they quietly design you out of. Mindset-wise, you want to learn to speak 2 languages: human outcomes and AI capabilities. Human outcome is reduce processing time by 50%, improve customer satisfaction, cut error rates, free up senior staff for higher value work. AI capability is, given unstructured text, it can classify, summarize, extract fields, draft responses, and interact through natural language. When you can stand in the middle and say to your VP, we can hit your business goal by wiring these tools into this process, you become hard to cut. Now let's talk to the investors in the room. The people who are like, okay, I might lose my job, but can my portfolio at least make it up to me? The same dynamic, terrifying workers, routine white-collar work getting automated, is exactly what can expand profit margins in certain sectors. But you have to be picky. Companies bragging about never-ending headcount growth with no clear AI strategy? Big red flag. If your cost base is exploding and you're not talking about productivity, the market will eventually notice. Companies yelling AI copilot in every earnings call, but not showing any real cost savings or product improvements? That's vibes. Good for a short-term pop, maybe not for a 10-year thesis. The really interesting ones? They're not doing AI victory laps every week on social. They're quietly shrinking back-office headcount over time, flattening org charts, fewer layers of middle management, more leverage per manager, reinvesting the savings into product, R&D, and distribution instead of just juicing short-term buybacks. When you see line items like restructuring, efficiency programs, AI-enabled workflows in filings, and then you see operating margin trend up over a couple of years, that's when it's real. Also, be skeptical of both extremes. The doom thumbnail saying, AI crash will destroy everything, sell now. And the hopium saying, infinite AI bull market, number go up forever. Reality is messier. Some companies will execute, some will flail, some workers will be fined, some will get hit hard. The job as an investor is not to emotionally react to each new headline, but to build a framework. Where are costs structurally falling? Where are moats strengthening or dissolving? Who's using AI to actually change how they operate, not just how they market? And, just to be crystal clear, nothing in this video is financial, investment, tax, or career advice. This is education and entertainment. You are responsible for your own decisions. Talk to a qualified professional before you move serious money or quit your job to become a full-time prompt shaman. All right, let's land this. Two extreme narratives are fighting for attention right now. On one side, AI will instantly take every white-collar job, we'll all be broke, and society collapses by next Tuesday. On the other, AI is just a cute helper tool. It'll only do boring stuff, and everyone will be even more employed and happier forever. Both are comforting in their own way. One says, it's hopeless, don't bother. The other says, it's fine, don't change. I don't buy either. What I think is happening is way more uncomfortable. No, not every white-collar worker will be instantly jobless. Yes, a lot of comfortable, safe roles are in real danger over the next few years. GPT 5.2 isn't a toy. It's a restructuring tool. It's the digital version of moving the factory to a cheaper country, except this time the factory is your back office and the cheaper country is a bunch of servers. The real question is, in that restructuring, are you part of the cost line or part of the redesign? Are you the line item getting squeezed or the person helping decide how work gets done in an AI-saturated company? And for investors, are you chasing whatever AI stock is pumping on Twitter this week or actually tracking which businesses are using this stuff to quietly change their cost structure and competitive position? This episode is the start of a mini-series I want to do on the real future of work and markets in an AI economy, without the TED Talk delusion or the full-time doom. So here's what I want from you. Drop a comment with your actual job title or the job you're worried about, and I'll pick some of them for future breakdowns. How exposed is it? What changes? And what a realistic adaptation path could look like. If you want more on how this ties into the Fed, rates, and the broader macro weirdness we're in, go check out the other episodes on the channel after this, especially the ones on the new Fed playbook and how investors should think about risk versus opportunity in confusing markets. If you found this helpful, hit like so this reaches more people who are still pretending their job is too strategic to be touched by AI. And if you want more brutally honest AI and markets talk, subscribe to the comment section with Thomas Paul, turn on notifications, and I'll see you in the next one. In the meantime, ask yourself, are you competing with GPT 5.2 or are you using it?